And we are live.
Hello, explorers, and welcome to our first Acolyte After Hours instant reaction. Now, just to warn you straight off the bat, there is going to be spoilers galore. So, if you haven't watched both the episodes yet, make sure you do. Make sure you come straight back to us to get instant feedback and reaction. As always, let us know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you're joining us on our social media, okay, and get all the comments. Let us know what you think of the episodes. Now, it's currently 25 past 3 in the morning for me. And joining me all the way from Vegas as usual, it's Jimmy. It's about 20 past 7 at night for him. So he's nice and fresh. However, I'm a little bit tired, but the excitement is keeping me up. Now, joining us for our reaction, we've got an extra special guest who was one of the lucky people to go to the premiere. And joining us today is going to be a young lady called Marie Bernadette.
Hello, Marie.
Hi, Marie. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us on this morning or tonight's show, depending on where everyone's watching from. Obviously, I mentioned that you'd been to the premiere, but before you talk about your experiences from the premiere, the Acolyte, let the explorers know who you are, where you're from, and where they can find you.
Sure. So I am Marie Bernadette. I'm a cosplayer. I have been making High Republic costumes for just about 3 years now. I've been reading High Republic books since they first came out. So I was absolutely ecstatic about the Acolyte. I'm so glad that it's finally here and that everyone can enjoy it. I was very lucky to be able to attend the premiere in Hollywood. I got to go in one of the costumes that I made, and my husband was there in a costume that I made for him, which was extremely exciting. And I am So Much Life cosplay on Instagram and TikTok.
Awesome. Make sure you guys and girls go over there then and check her out and her awesome costumes. Before we start with our reactions on the episodes, what was it like to be at the premiere?
It was amazing. It was very weird for me. So I had a very unique circumstance because I injured myself literally the day before I was leaving. So I went to the ER because I thought I had broken my ankle. Thankfully, it's not broken, but we weren't sure at the time. And then I basically had to drive straight from the ER to the airport to get on an airplane to go across the country. Obviously, I'm still in America, but I live on the East Coast, so I had to go from East Coast to West Coast. And so I was on the red carpet in a wheelchair, but it worked. I was still there, and I still got to see everyone, got to be in costume. So very, very weird few days, but still exciting nonetheless. It was really cool, though, because all of the High Republic authors were there, so I got to see all of them again. And I got to get their autographs and things, and that was very exciting. The fans didn't get as much time to spend with, like, the actors and celebrities and things. The fans all arrived first, and then we were kind of, like, ushered into the theater, and then all the celebs arrived. But it was still really, really cool to be there.
Nice. It does sound amazing. The premiere for the Acolyte was over here last Tuesday. They sort of had the same sort of thing as well. But I think some of the actors managed to get a bit of time with the fans.
The setup was different.
Yeah. I did the Rise of Skywalker premiere, and it was sort of similar as well, where you'd spend a little bit of time with the actors, and then they just ushered us into the premiere. But yeah, the Acolyte then, Jimmy, what we saying?
All right. So, want to welcome everyone to Acolyte After Hours recap show. Like Jack said, this is full spoilers. So, please, from this point moving forward, if you haven't watched it, come back and watch this later. All right. So, first off, your thoughts, guys and gals. Marie, we're going to start with you because you've been holding on to this. If I were you, I think about the excitement that Jack and I have had over. I mean, I'm on vacation and we came back to do this, and Jack's up at 3:00 in the morning. But you have been holding on to this information for what, almost 2 weeks?
Just about 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, if you can remember coming out of that theater, I mean, the hype would be insane there. But just talk about it. What are your thoughts on the first 2 episodes? We can just talk about them as a whole.
So good. I mean, I know that I'm biased because I'm a huge fan of the High Republic. So there's a lot that would have to happen for me to not like this show. But absolutely incredible. I was very surprised, I think, in the beginning that we sort of got the twin story immediately. I wasn't sure. There was a lot of speculation kind of at the beginning whether or not May was going to be a twin. And if she was, I didn't expect that to get revealed so quickly in the beginning. But I'm kind of glad that it did and wasn't like a super drawn out thing. Very cool. I'm excited to see where that goes. I was eagerly looking for all of the little Easter eggs from the books. So found a few of those. I'm sure I will find more as I rewatch it over and over again. I've rewatched episode 1. I was not able to rewatch episode 2 because my Disney Plus crashed. But I'm going to be rewatching that like as a big watch party tomorrow with my friends. So
very cool. Very cool.
More fun things. Yeah, I love it. I love seeing the Jedi being Jedi, like the height of the Jedi Order. I think that's really cool, and seeing them go on all of their missions and being who they are, which is really cool and exciting. And of course, I love the costumes. I'm a costumer at heart, so I'm screenshotting every single image of costumes that we can get. It's the best. Yeah, I loved it. Incredible.
Awesome. Jack, you're the most sleep deprived of us. I'll let you go second before you fall back asleep.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I absolutely loved it. Since Celebration, when we saw the trailer, Jim, you know how excited I've been for this. I was blown away. I don't understand the hate for it. If those people that have put all the negative stuff have watched this, there's no way they'll all still say the same thing from what I've read. It's incredible. The visuals, different stuff. Again, I'm a massive fan of all the High Republic stuff. I haven't read all the young adult books. I've read all the adult novels, a couple of comics, etc. But yeah, I love it. I can't wait for more. And as well, I was surprised that they revealed the twin stuff so early, but at the same time, I'm glad it's not drawn out as well.
Yeah, for sure. Also, if you guys remember back, Marie, you were in London Celebration as well, right? Yes, yeah, so all 3 of us, London Celebration.
There you go.
But that rumor came out almost immediately after Celebration that she was going to be playing 2 characters, a twin, and then that just died for like a year, and then kind of resurfaced as the stuff comes up. So that makes me think, I don't know about you guys, but that's nothing. Like, we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
I think it's going to show how fast the show's going to move, and I'm glad as well it's not a case of going backwards and forwards through time, because I think that can get quite confusing. But yeah, I agree, Jimmy. It's been revealed as quick as it is. I think it's really set the pace of the show.
Yeah, I do think we're probably going to get some past stuff though. I think after.
Right?
Yeah, I think we have to. And I think we're probably going to see the same event from multiple perspectives in the past. I mean, we haven't seen the end of Indara. Like, certainly she was not going to be in this show for like 5 minutes. So we'll see more.
Hopefully not.
Yes. Again, I would like to say that I called it. Indara was going to be the first to go, and it was going to be the first thing to happen. Yeah. They were selling that, hyping that. But I do think we've seen some stuff that shows like flashbacks, like, because Master Soul's hair is shorter. I think we saw Indara. I mean, Kalneka is not in his robes. We'll get to that in a little bit.
And I think we see a younger Torben as well in some of the.
Yes, because I can't wait till we dive in this episode too, because Torben looks a little weird because that kid's like in his 20s probably. But what did we think? First, okay, so that opening scene, she walks in the bar. My first thought when she walks into that bar, cantina, whatever, was George Lucas has to be so happy right now. I know that there's some negativity with stuff he said at the Cannes Film Festival, and no one understands the Force, but that seems like something he wanted to do with the original movie, right? And was there another human in there other than Indara and May? Like, it looked like there was all, for the most part, people have to remember too, most of us, we just watched it, so it's fresh in our mind, but so many aliens.
Yeah.
That was super exciting. What'd you guys think of that? I mean, I know we saw most of that fight scene, you know, but we little bits and pieces. Some of the dialogue was left out. How'd you guys feel about that fight scene?
Yeah, it was incredible. Well coordinated. I've got a few gripes, and one of the gripes early on is to do with the early scene as well, which I'll come on to shortly. But I agree with the aliens. There's so many different amounts of aliens. The opening scene was class as well. I love stuff like that. Different planets, the ships. You know, I'm a big ship guy as well, Jimmy. Yeah, the battle itself, very, very good. Very little humans that we spoke about. The variety of costumes was crazy. So I'm sure Marie was absolutely buzzing with screenshots on that. Just that scene alone. All the visuals are incredible. But my only gripe that I've got about it is I think it's probably my own fault to a degree as well. Is I sort of hoped that that battle wouldn't be the last we saw of Indara in that episode, but then I sort of knew it was coming because of I think they revealed a bit too much in certain trailers. I think they could have cut out some things in trailers, to be honest, because as soon as she walked in, I thought, oh, this is where she's going to die straight away. And I'm like, I sort of know what's coming. And as well, they released that, I think it was like a 10-minute clip or 5-minute clip, weren't they, of the fight scene. So a little bit already, I was a bit like, but no, as a whole, as a scene and shooting and filming and the stunts and the fighting and the Force Woo, yeah, brilliant. Absolutely loved it. What about you, Marie?
Yeah, love the scene. I've already loved all of the fight choreography that we've seen in the first 2 episodes, so very much looking forward to the rest of the choreography. But yeah, I thought that their dynamic was really good, really well played. And I think that, of course, if a Jedi is going to die, they're going to die saving someone else. So I thought it was a moving scene, very good scene.
Yeah, I thought that was great. That was a good shout. Like that was great the way she kind of just played on, you know, what is it they talk about in Kenobi? Like the Jedi has to scratch that itch. They have to do the right thing. And she opened herself up, you know, left herself defenseless. You know, she ends up eating it right there. And I do think, I hope that we get to see some flashbacks. Like we said, like as we get into episode 2, I'm sure that we'll talk about that a little bit more. What'd you guys think of that bartender and his little kid? How cute was that little kid, that little alien down there? Just, you know, and then is there goodness in May because she didn't kill the bartender when she saw the kid? Like it looked like she was about to like kill that guy, that alien, the bartender, and when she saw the little kid, she just kind of bounced. So is there some light there? Is this some Anakin Skywalker type stuff we're dealing with? What do we think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the optimist in me, I hope so, but it could also just be that she was sent to do a job and she only felt like she just had to do the job and then leave. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a weakness for her. It's children, because obviously we see it in the second episode, which we're going to later on. But there's something going on with her and kids to the extent that I think that's her weakness, because it just gets mentioned a lot. Again, that's more episode 2 as well. But yeah, we'll see.
All right. So we get that big, great fight scene. I will probably rewatch that 57,000 times as soon as I get home from Vegas. And but then it flashes and the twin wakes up. It's Osha. She's on a ship. She's a mech or something they call them. Mech, yeah. So and she's working for Nimordians. There is a Nar Shaddaa reference. Lots of references. I loved it. For the big time fans, people that really know the legend or the canon and things like that. And then we have some of this stuff. Of course, she's working for the Nimordians. I was just waiting for him to speak to be like, are they still, I don't know how you guys feel about how their voices were in the in the Phantom Menace. They're a little offensive to certain groups of humans. So I personally thought it was good they kind of changed their voices and gave them some scenes. But what do we think about that whole scene outside the ship? We saw Pip for the first time. I need a Pip droid. That was awesome. Nimordian, she's got her friends. How do we feel about that scene out there and what she's capable of doing?
Yeah, I liked it. I like seeing the different side of the Nimordians as well. They're always class. I like how they just see other species as lesser things as well, because obviously they've got the money. And then again, more for me really just to finish on is the ships, the CGI with the ships. Very important stuff, I think, with Star Wars is ships. You've got to get that right. And seeing that the Jedi Starfighter coming on as well, I thought that was incredible. But no, I was really, really happy with everything with that. And Pip, yeah, that's going to be selling out like hotcakes as well, I think.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a big time seller. What do you think, Marie?
I'm a sucker for droids, so I love every new droid that appears in Star Wars. Pip's amazing. I'm excited to see more. But I'm with you on the ships. I was so excited to finally see like Jedi vectors in live action. Amazing.
What I will say as well, which was good to see, go thinking about droids, is Gonk.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I saw the Gonk, I was like, "There's my boy."
Yeah,
Yep, love it.
Droid. Honk if you love Gonk. So yeah, so I thought that and they start off with a flow, she's looking at that spire and it kind of sets the tone.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, the ships, things like that, and I'm glad they changed some of those things. It seems like they're still up to no good though, right? I mean, in about 100 years, they're going to be, they are the Trade Federation. They're going to be doing the things they do with the Emperor. And so they're already like they're not supposed to be using humans or
Still illegal.
Yeah, still doing illegal stuff. So at least they're consistent. But and then it flashes to that scene where everyone thought that the little girl who says fire was Mayor Osha, and it wasn't. That's present time. So they're doing some stuff there. And of course, Vernestra Rowe, and I've got to ask you, Marie, Vernestra, for me, there's so many Jedi in the High Republic, and I love Vern. As people who haven't read the books, she hates being called that, but it's what everyone calls her.
Yeah.
What do you think of Vern? And I put politics. No, because the politics, they are really. You can talk about this a little bit too, each of you. They're already showing the council being what it is in the prequels, being all pomp and circumstance, and like Soul's like, we need to get there, and they're like, well, we don't do anything without deliberating for 45 minutes. So what do you guys think about that aspect? Marie, what do you think about seeing Vern? And then what did you think about politics already bogging down the Jedi?
Yeah. Well, of course, I was so excited to see Vernestra. She is one of my favorite characters from the books. As they sort of hinted in like interviews and things before this came out, she's very different than she was in the books. She's grown up 100 years. She's spent 100 years of doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and she's seen some awful things in life. So she's a lot more subdued, and seeing her in that sort of master role where it seems like she has, if she's not on the council, then she certainly has some sort of authority within the Jedi Order, I think was very interesting. And how she's sort of like very tentative to go against, Jedi things. Whereas recently in the books, she like just ran away.
She's been gone for like the last year or so.
So I think really cool to see her as her like character development has happened. But yeah, and then politics already, they're like talking about their political enemies and things that they should or shouldn't do as Jedi, and that's unfortunate. I think a lot of that does come from the events that happened in the High Republic books, and they just got a little too connected to the Republic, for better or worse.
Yeah, I think so too. Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think she looks great. Again, I've not read all the books. I've only just started really getting into Vernestra Rowe lore, but yeah, I think she looks great. You can see I want to see the cracks forming again with the politics stuff, because it's interesting that every time something kicked off or there was like an arrest to be made, so to speak, it was always the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order. Never just like it's for the Jedi Order or it's for the Galactic Republic. So you can see how big they are working alongside the Galactic Republic as well. It does frustrate me. Jedi politics frustrates me so much, but that's for a different show, which we'll go into.
Yeah, and that just made me realize that when they're on later on when they're on the prison ship, the prisoners are talking about, oh, aren't you afraid of the Jedi? And so clearly they were arrested, and like, yeah, they're arrested probably by the Republic, but they're gonna have to answer to the Jedi in some sense. And why shouldn't that just be a Republic thing?
Yeah,
kind of
that's a really
showing
good
that.
point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that was brings me to the next big scene. Really is the prison ship, right? I love the fact that seats become robots and fly the things. But I love the aliens. I loved the working, how they all work together and made. And
Yeah.
they're trying to show that OSHA, I think, is a good person because a lot of things that she does in that whole scene where she kind of does the right thing and is, and she has faith in the Jedi. And so right there, you knew, I think, for me personally, that okay, this twins thing is definitely, it's real because she wouldn't be running back to the Jedi. So, what do you guys think of the prisoners? More aliens? They're pretty awesome. New ones, robot aliens, kind of reminded me of the Techno Union a little bit. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys think of that whole scene?
Yeah, I liked it. It's worst prisoner ship ever. Like
Terrible.
they used a parasite to cover the mouth up or subdue a violent criminal, but they didn't think to do something with the cyborg robot android thing that could hack the ship. So I was a bit like, oh come on.
Yeah, that was a little too on the nose, I thought. But yeah, some cool stuff. A little bit of we got to get here in the story, so this is
Yeah,
how we're going to do it. But
classic Star Wars with that. I love the ship pilots being seats as well. I thought that was good, and I like the fact that it all boiled down to like strapping in and hope for the best, because obviously the escape pods had gone. I liked all the different prisoners. I like the prisoner guard as well. I'll let you talk about the prisoner guard and that, Marie, because you're a droid person.
Yeah, the droids, I think they were really, really cool. But yeah, I think the prison security a little lacking.
every time, like, how many things have we seen? We've seen it in the Mando. We've seen it, so many things that, I mean, if you're a prisoner, you get put on a ship, it might be the safest place for you.
Yeah, right.
You're free. So, did anyone get what was the droid? Ned B or Ned 8
Ned B.
from you guys get any vibes, like any kind of like, oh, those kind of similar droids?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
The guy in the suit deal.
Yeah. I will say one of the things I really liked about that scene, and it's so tiny, is that they crash land on Karlak, which is a very tiny High Republic Easter egg. It's a planet that gets mentioned exactly once in Tempest Runner as the site of a Nihil skirmish. So
That's
nice.
That was fun.
You're like, woof, that is a good call. How did you? Wow. All right.
It was a
Very
deep
good.
cut.
Yeah, that is a deep cut. Very cool.
I had to go look it up.
All right. Yeah. I love the fact that they showed us all of the planet names.
Yeah.
And if pace keeps up, we're gonna have the whole universe by the time the show is over. I mean, we were on like 4 or 5 planets in episode 1, 3 or 4 more, and of course, and then so let's talk about some of the other characters too. So finally, all this happens, and they're gonna they capture those aliens, and OSHA or May, I think it's OSHA is not there, and you kind of get your first interactions with Soul, Yord, and Jeki. I know we see Yord a little bit earlier. My first thing is I put down Yord sucks. So, but what do you guys think of those characters so far in this first episode? I'm loving it. I mean, how different they all are.
Yeah, I want to know more about Yord's past friendship with OSHA, because it seems like they were Padawans together. He does seem a little more of like a rule follower than OSHA might have been as a Padawan. So I think there's some interesting dynamics there to explore.
Yeah, I still think there's more to. I think there's more to Yord than he lets on.
Yeah.
Going from what we were saying about our speculation and that, I think I could see why he'd turn, because I feel like he's very underappreciated and sort of disregarded to an extent, because he comes up with all these ideas and that, and he gets talked over, and it's a bit like, I did feel a bit like,
yeah.
All right, I want to say this about Yord. Is there any chance? And he's getting overlooked a bunch right off the bat. Jeki doesn't like him. I mean, you could tell he's and Master Soul's like, what's wrong with Yord? And she's like, well, he's so Yord, know. Is there any chance that like he's got this animosity built up and he's actually doing something on the with the bad guys. I mean,
I think so.
You know,
Something just doesn't sit right with me and you. There might be
something seems weird to me. I don't know. I mean, he may just be, like Marie said, just a super rule follower and not real creative. I mean, he is what a temple guard, it looks like, for the most part. He's got his yellow saber. But okay, so then Master Soul, we get to see more of him growing. So maybe not as much this first episode, but he kind of reminds me of Qui-Gon a little bit with just how he thinks about a lot of different things. And every time someone has a response, he's able to kind of counter it with a different version of, you know. And I also think, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, if you guys noticed that every episode so far, and I say every episode, the two that we've seen, they both have double names, right? So episode 1 is Lost and Found. They were written, directed by Leslie Headland, so she did all that in the first one. And then the second episode, Revenge and Justice, which is a big part of the second episode. We'll get into who wrote that. But what do you guys think of Jecki and Yord and, you know, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I think, like I said, Yord's underappreciated. I love Master Sol. I think, like you said, he's very quick-witted and fast in what he does, but very precise and to the point. And Jecki, I absolutely love Jecki. I think it's fantastic. But what I will say as well, and credit probably to the writers, to be fair, is how different all three Jedi are.
Yeah.
You know, they're not similar really at all, I don't think, if I'm honest.
No, they all seem very different.
Yeah, and I think from a costuming perspective, you can also see that a lot of the Jedi, there isn't a strict uniform for them, that they all have slight differences in their costumes, which I think will speak to some of their characterization, which is very cool.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I know they talked a lot about, you know, so much stuff came out from behind the scenes about how their lightsaber fighting really and their fighting styles really kind of define who they are. But I think you're right, Marie. Especially you would probably definitely pick that up before anybody else. The little subtle differences, which Jack and I probably had to go back and watch it 100 times. I may not see it, so you should just make like a little, you know, just a little chart for everybody. And
that's a good idea.
So that would be great. And then that kind of we run into the ocean, and then we have that visual. Or May. So May wakes up. I'm sorry, I keep confusing them. Osha wakes up. You know, that crew is on their way to go get her. She wakes up and she has this scene with May as twins. Are they I hate to say this word out loud to get all these, you know, sequel haters, but are they a forced dyad? So, because that scene was weird, man, because like they're both, I mean, Osha's her age, then she's the twin of May, the younger version of May, and then all of a sudden they're both young, and you know, and then we find out that they both think the other one's dead eventually. So what did you guys
I don't think they're a dyad, mate, because like you said, then they both think they're dead. So if they were a dyad, they'd be connected and then they'd know if each other were alive. So whoever, again, I don't even want to call him a Sith, but whoever the bad villain is, he's definitely pulling the strings and sort of connecting people with the Force that way. So I don't think they're a dyad, but I think it's, again, another weakness between the two.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. At least not currently. I'd say they aren't a dyad. I think it's possible that dyad relationship could end up growing, but at least in the beginning, I don't think that the vision was like May sending anything to Osha. I think it was just like the Force making her aware that, like, oh yeah, by the way, your twin still exists.
Wow, all right, yeah, I like that. Okay, very cool. And then of course it kind of comes, you know, they meet up. Yord is being Yord. Anyone notice how fast Yord pulls a saber constantly throughout the 2 episodes? Like that guy is like, he yanks his lightsaber as soon as he gets a little bit scared. And Master Soul does tell him, like, don't let fear cloud your judgment. So I definitely think there's more layers to Yord.
Yeah.
But he pulls his lightsaber through that. They get her. Master Soul, he's like the caring father or just a great Jedi master from the looks of things. Not quick to judge, which, you know, the rest of the Jedi can figure out. But they bring her back, and then it kind of flashes to that scene where we've got May and she comes up, and then the acolytes or the master is up on that, and he lights his red saber. His voice sound familiar to anybody? I didn't know. I was thought maybe.
Nah, I couldn't. There's nothing that springs to mind for me. What about you, Marie?
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything, but I'm very interested to see where it goes and who he actually is.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of hiding that.
Do we find out the end of the season, do you think? Do we find out? I mean, the way they're revealing stuff, do we find out next week?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I think we're going to find out in the next 2 episodes.
Okay. But because some people have seen 4 of the episodes. Some people, like some content, I like Perry Nemmer from like Collider and things like that. She's seen 4, and I always love all the stuff she does, and she's super excited about it. So overall, you've got your very first episode of The Acolyte, which, I mean, I loved it. What are we giving it if you had to give it a score out of 10? Knowing that we have so much more to come, how are you guys scoring it? Like, where are we at? We got room for improvement.
I'd go for 9 pips out of 10.
9 pips out of 10. All right.
I'd probably go with 9 as well. Just because there's still things I want to know what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. I thought there were some things. There was a little bit of stuff with the ships and some of the dialogue that kind of was like, oof, that's a little bit off. Like, maybe did George write this? But but overall, like the story, the mystery, like there's nothing like this in Star Wars. It feels like you're reading one of the High Republic books because it's like we don't know what's coming. So I loved it. I'm going to say between 8.5 pips. I don't want to cut Pip in half, but I mean his head popped off, so we should be all right there.
Yeah.
But all right, so very cool. We'll move into episode 2, and that's Revenge and Justice. It was written by Jason Metcalf and Charmaine DeGrata, and it was directed by Leslie Headland. And it kind of opens up with Master Torben. Now, this is a kid from Game of Thrones and from 1917. They made him look old as heck, right? I mean, this kid's like in his 20s. I don't think he's that old. And then, of course, they talk about the Barash vow, So talk about that. And then this is where my notes, it says Yord sucks. So I may be forgetting something that he did that I don't like. But
so his plan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So what do you guys think about the opening, Master Torben? And then we can kind of clump this all together a little bit.
Yeah.
And how things end for Master Torben? Because that makes me.
What is Master Torben from? There, I recognize the name. But I can't.
He is from Game of Thrones. Wait, you mean like the character or the guy?
Yeah, the actual character, Master. Is he in one of the High Republic books?
So there is a character named Torben, but it's spelled differently. There's Torben Buck in the comics, but he's Torban, and this is Bin.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, so that ties that up straight away. Happy with that.
All right, good. So what do you guys think? I mean, he's sitting there like levitating and stuff. So, Marie, what'd you think?
As soon as they mentioned the Barash vow, I was freaking out in my seat because, especially for anyone that hasn't read the books, and this isn't like a spoiler for anything, the Barash vow is something that Jedi take if they believe that they have done something very bad. Or that they have connected with the dark side such that they need to like remove themselves from the world and then reconnect to the light side. And people take the Barash vow for literal years or even decades at a time. And you're like completely isolated while you're meditating, I guess, on the Force. So for those of us that know the books, immediately we're clued in that he feels like he did something awful. Like he would not have, it has to be voluntary, so no one can tell you to take the Barash vow. So he is severely mourning something that happened in his life. So I'm interested to find out what he feels like he did. And then clearly he felt awful enough about it that when offered the chance to leave this world, he took it.
Yeah. That was, first of all, I was surprised that there wasn't some kind of disclaimer like they've had in the books. And we've watched my wife and I, we've watched a couple shows recently, and they've been a lot of disclaimers when there's like self-harm and things like that. But I was kind of stunned. So that makes me think like, what the HE double hockey sticks happened on, what was it? What's the planet called that they're from? Bendoc or something?
Oh, yeah. I can't remember which one.
Jack, what about you?
Yeah, I had no idea about that Barash vow. So I was really interested in that, Marie. Thank you for that. I love the fact that he was levitating in some sort of, I'm going to say, force shield.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. But yeah, that makes so much more sense
Actually,
to me now, because I was wondering why is he just sat floating like that. I just thought he was just meditating.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So that's actually made it a lot more clearer. I think it's something that they should discuss then or mention in the show because again,
yeah.
like myself, if I haven't read as much High Republic as Marie, for example, but then I like stuff like that because it's a shout out for the hardcore High Republic fans. Do you know what I mean? So there's
Because
little
And I'm sure
snippets
they'll
for
explain
everybody.
it in future episodes, but
Yeah.
yeah,
for now.
because the first time I remember seeing it in canon is the Vader comic because he goes after a Jedi whenever he like it's right after he becomes Vader, and it's like kind of like the first or second run of the Vader comic. So I know we're in the third kind of installment of it now, but he goes after a Jedi who is on the Barrage Vow. And then, of course, we see it in the High Republic when they flash back to the Phase One and the blade of
Yep.
Yeah.
and his
We meet
sister.
Barrage herself.
Yeah, she is the origin of the Barrage Vow because she feels so guilty for what she had done that she just disappears, which I think is going to come into play later. But she's kind of the one who initiates and starts this whole vow where you can kind of go and do things. So I thought that was, like you guys said, it's a really good shout out for people who've read a lot of the comics and things like that. Because I don't know if I've read it in a book yet.
It's only mentioned in Into the Dark by Claudia Gray.
All right.
And mentioned.
Yeah. And so I think you guys are right though. They kind of gotta like as I guess they're probably as they're uncovering what happened.
Yeah.
Something dark's happened, yeah.
Yeah, something dark has happened. We'll see.
It'll make sense by the end, I'm sure.
I think that's why Master Soul's so intent on finding Osha and helping them both out.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that's probably a good shout there too. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on the surface, and people complaining about the show before it even came out. I think Jack, like you said, I feel like this should have answered. The story is really compelling because I had a little bit of nitpicky stuff like here and there, but the story is just. I mean, I'm sucked in. I can't wait. I can't wait to rewatch it when I get back from Vegas, and I can't wait for next Tuesday. So. Then where were we at now? Oh, we had a shirtless Jedi. Anyone want to talk about that? Marie, how did you feel about a shirtless Jedi? I mean, he's no Ben Solo, but he works out.
It was good. It was funny. I think the scene was a nice little bit of levity.
Yes.
My friends and I were all comparing it to Elzar Mann in the books, also being shirtless.
Elzar.
But very different circumstances.
Yeah, Elzar is a Jedi Hoochie Mama, I think. So, well, what do you guys think about Jackie? She's just like, put your clothes on, like just totally disgusted by the guy.
Yeah.
So, but I put in my notes here. Okay, so Master Torben, he takes the easy way out, right? She tries to kill him once. May does. She sneaks in, tries to kill him once, and then she comes back. We get to meet. Was it Chimere?
Yeah.
We get to meet him, and he's got some skills too because she tries to like stab him later on and is able to fight him, but she makes a poison. He offers it to him. He takes the way out, and then kind of all the stuff we just discussed. And then they have like the stakeout where they're kind of like a Jedi, what's the word I'm looking for? Stakeout. Yeah, stakeout. So they're sitting there and a bunch of different Jedi trying to do things. I think those Padawans on that planet are kind of useless, but I just put Jeki is greater than Yord because he comes up with a plan that's just kind of asimine.
Yeah.
Hey, how about this? Because this makes way more sense.
Immediate shutdown.
And that's another thing. Why I was like, and his face is like he's like crestfallen, like he's just so. I mean, it was a quick scene, and I'll go back and rewatch it eventually. But he just looks like he's like, like again, like like you feel bad for him. But is that the kind of stuff, and like so kind of?
He's just so. I just find him nervous around everything because, like you said, he's quick to pull a lightsaber out.
Yeah.
His plan, once it doesn't get followed, you can tell he's not comfortable with it. And then when they go into the Jedi Temple, he doesn't go with Sol and Jeki. He sees May. Is it May or Asha? He sees that. He sees her go off and decides to follow her as well. So he's like, I need to see what she's up to. Yeah. So for me, it panics, and there's got to be a reason why he keeps panicking so much.
It is weird. I I mean, we could be reading too much into it, like Star Wars fans do, but there's something with there's got to be something there, I think. But that all happens. Osha pretends to be May, gets Chimera to tell him some stuff. Now they know that there's a master. Then they get that great fight scene that they again. I wish they wouldn't have showed that fight scene. Like, I love fighting. Like, it reminds me of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee, has the original Crow that they've been trying to remake for years. Like, that kind of fighting, the hand-to-hand stuff, so cool. Most people have probably seen it already. What do you guys think of that fight scene between May and Soul, and just the kind of the conversation? Because he asked her straight up, "Why are you attacking me without a weapon?"
Go on, Marie.
I thought it was really good. I think I'm interested to find out more about that, like the attacking without a weapon. Like, is that what's gonna make her like elevate from Acolyte to like full blown Sith, or what her goals are? But yeah, no, I loved the fight scene. I thought it was really, really interesting. Very well done.
Yeah, I'm the exact same, but again, same as episode 1. I wish they hadn't have shown as much.
Sure.
Not saying it's a waste of time because you've seen it, but it sort of takes away. It just takes some of it away from me a little bit. Because I'm like, I know what's coming. Yeah.
I mean, I watched that scene, that fight scene between those two. I probably watched that 4 or 5 times when it first got released. I was just so blown away by that. And he had been, we've been eating off of the Endara May fight for months, it seems like, for a year, because I mean, we've seen pieces of that at Celebration. So now everything that happens is new. That's exciting. Everything that comes forward. Like, I know there's clips that we have seen that we haven't seen yet, but like none of the fighting and stuff like that, we've really seen things. So that's pretty cool. And then, do you think? At first, I was kind of like, well, maybe she's out of practice. But did Osha let May go?
I think so.
Yeah, that's kind of where I stand.
Yeah, those were warning shots, I think.
Yeah,
they were
I think she's talking about how she hates her sister for starting the fire or whatever happened. But I think deep down you can't sever that bond as easily, and realizing that her sister is still alive is definitely messing with her head.
Jack, what do you think about that? Same thing?
Yeah, exact same thing, mate. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings me to something that it kind of Revenge of the Sith. So May is adamant that her sister is dead. Osha is adamant that her sister is dead. Everyone, it seems like, saw that May had died, and they only could save Osha. So whoever saved May, is that person pulling the Emperor, like, you killed Padme kind of thing, and is this going to change stuff? Like, what's happening here? Because May was convinced that Osha was dead, and leading up to that scene, we were convinced that everyone thought that May was dead, and like, it would be a big surprise. But I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't expecting May to be surprised that Osha was alive.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting complete surprise on both sides, and I'm very interested to find out who Mother Anastasia is, because we know that she's a character in the story, and Osha's last name is Anastasia. So did their mothers, or one of their mothers, survive? And the Jedi were convinced that, like, the mothers were both dead and May was dead.
Yeah, I'm the same again with Marie, but interestingly enough, what we're seeing in Mother Anastasia, she's got like a circle mark thing as like a sign or symbol. Yep. And one of the sisters, again, I think it's Osha. Can't keep track of these twins, but one of them's got the mark on the head as well, haven't they?
It's May, yeah. And I was waiting for us to like see that Osha does or doesn't have it, and I don't think that they ever confirmed.
No, so that's what I'm waiting on now is to see. So then it might answer a few more questions as well.
Yeah.
All right. Something that popped into my head a little bit too is we've seen some footage where it looks like I don't think it's going to call it the motherhood. It's all women in Mother Anastasia. Like, I didn't see any dudes, and that doesn't make me mad like some people on the internet. Like, I was like, okay. But are we getting, like, is this Acolyte person, the bad guy, what we think is the bad guy? Is this a whole, like, and the name just slipped my from Solo. She takes off the helmet, and you're like, holy crap, it's a girl. Like,
Yeah.
is it? Is this a
Empress
boy?
Nest.
Yeah, thank you.
And
I
whatnot.
sitting here thinking about that in my head when you guys were talking. As soon as I go to talk, I just kind of lose it. But yeah, we're getting a whole like, is it a trick? I think there's so much to unpack here.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're getting some sort of like witches coven. That's sort of what we've been teased. Something kind of similar to the Night Sisters, but somewhat different. And so, are they like a group of dark side users, or is it a group that like has somehow convinced May to then go further down this dark side path and like connect with the Sith?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's a group of mothers that have lost their children to the Jedi Order.
That's what, Jack and I, we've talked about that. We think that it might be, but it looks like, I don't know. There's something going on with that order, and I think that
I definitely think that the mass villain is going to be female, because we haven't had a female bad Sith wielding a lightsaber yet.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So whether it's in the Acolyte or the movies, my money 100% would be on this person is going to be a female Sith.
So maybe one of the mothers or part of that group that we haven't seen yet, and we've only seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
Next thing I have, we have a bunch of stuff with Soul, and it kind of talks, and we get a lot of good stuff from Master Soul. Talking and trying to convince people, and I think he sees Osha miss completely, and he's like, go, like, kind of deal. But he understands. Then of course we get more politics. You get Vernestra, and he's like, we know where he's going. He's going for Kalneka. And then she's like, well, no, we have to talk about it. We don't make these decisions. And I was, oh my gosh, like, stop it. Stop it. So what'd you guys think about that? And then we'll wrap up this episode with
it's just frustrating, but it's good. It's a good point to end on, because do you guys feel that in the whole episode you are seeing it from not a Jedi point of view, but more of a Sith outside point of view? And to that end, I mean, look at some of the Jedi decisions and some of the Jedis at that Jedi temple. I got Stormtrooper vibes. For example, 1 minute he's watching her and then he's talking, then he's like, oh no, she's gone. And it's like classic Stormtrooper.
Well, they haven't had to fight or do anything real. They just basically, depending on what happens at the end of the High Republic, which we're closing in on, and over the next year or so, a couple months. I'm not sure how much longer we have with it, but the new book comes out this week. Is that tomorrow? No, wait.
The 11th.
That's next week.
We've got a week.
The council, man. Ugh.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened to Vernestra to make her so adamant to follow all the rules.
Yeah, she was a rule follower kind of at the beginning of the stories, and of course, and everything happens with Santekas and the Nihil and their master and all that stuff. And she obviously, the start of phase 3, she's off on her own doing crazy things. And of course, we get Bigfoot. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I was just screaming Bigfoot. Classic Bigfoot references. So, we got some aliens walking through the woods, and they come up to the spaceship, and then of course Kalneka shows up, which I'm assuming is Kalneka, and runs off, and then that's kind of the end of it. So,
I thought it was super interesting that we didn't see him in Jedi robes. We know that he's like a loner; he's kind of off on his own, and so I'm wondering if that means that like he doesn't consider himself a Jedi anymore, or if he's like a Wayseeker. If we're gonna actually get Wayseekers in live action.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, Wayseekers. Is he stranded on that planet, do you think? I mean, they found him. They know where he's at.
I think he's probably there.
Everyone knows where he's at, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they know where he is. I don't think he'd be stranded otherwise. Or they turned up to say, do you want help or something? I think. Yeah, I think he's content.
Yeah, but I kind of think that he and Torben probably had the same thought with just different results. Torben's like, I'm going to go meditate for 10 years, and Kalneka's like, I'm going to go live on this other planet for 10 years and not talk to anybody because of whatever happened.
Yeah, what happened? So, because I feel like we see a scene. It must be a flashback of Torben and Kalneka fighting.
think so.
So yeah, there's so much more to unwrap here. But anything else for episode 2?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
No.
it's good.
Give
All
me
right,
more
so-
theories.
So we got more questions. It seems like it's always the Star Wars way. More questions now. But so episode 2, Revenge and Justice. You guys both gave episode 1 9 pips out of 10. What are we giving episode 2?
Go on, Marie.
I'd probably give it an 8. I wish there was more. It was very short. I think it's one of the shortest of the season.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. 8 pips for me. A little too short. Well, that's just me being a bit greedy. And then again, just having the fight scene ruined to a degree.
I think it revealed, yeah.
Yeah, I had to say 7.5 or 8 pips for me personally too. But the hype's been building up. Marie, you've been sitting on this for a while. Are we still super excited and super pumped for the Acolyte? Is it going to be a long wait until next Tuesday?
Definitely. I'm still very excited. I'm looking forward to digging into more of that backstory. I think that they've kind of talked about this as being a spiral storytelling show. So I think we've peeled back layer 1 and we're about to get into a whole bunch of layers, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm loving it. The potential for it is huge. I think Jackie's got the potential to be bigger than Ahsoka.
I can see it.
Character.
She's a fun character, and we know she's got some. I can't wait to see her fight too. X-23 with a lightsaber. Super excited for that. Lots of Force Fu in these first 2 episodes. But
I think there's definitely more questions. And something else as I was looking and just after now thinking back and listening to you guys' comments as well is I wouldn't be surprised if the master, so to speak, is another May or Osha, as in the triplets.
Oh,
that'd be a good little twist, because that would make sense to me then, to a degree, how she's able to connect to them both through the Force.
Yeah.
But who knows?
We'll see, I think. All right. Well, Marie, we want to thank you so much for joining us and for holding on to all this information that you had. Let's tell our listeners and our viewers one more time where they can find you, what you do, and then we'll sign off.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram at So Much Life. It's SEW, like sewing. And I'm on TikTok as So Much Life_cosplay. I do talk more about books and comics on my TikTok, and I do more costuming stuff on Instagram.
Very cool. All right. Jack, you want to take us out?
Yeah, again, just thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm going to go do some meditating now for about 2.5 hours before I have to get up for work. But yeah, so I'm going to try and get this right, because I've only seen it once. So, as the sky sits above and as the sea lies below, as you are you and I am me.
Nice. You have a favorite quote, Marie?
That's good. I haven't picked out quotes yet. That's going to be on rewatch 3.
All right. Well, for all of us, and again, one last time, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to talking to you online on all the socials and about the rest of the episodes moving forward. But thank you again for joining us on this opening. Super exciting for Star Wars fans, I hope. I can't wait to see. I really hope the reaction is positive. I don't really care what other people think, but just for Star Wars fandom in general. But again, thank you for coming on here, being so positive. Your knowledge in the High Republic is impressive.
Yeah.
So
second that.
Yeah. So you're like the Jocasta Nu of the High Republic. And for all of us, we have spoken. See you guys next week.
See you later.